On record at 10:07 a.m., May 30th, 2019, the start of DVD number 1. You may swear in the witness.
You raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, Miss Cameo. Let's start out. Can you just give your full name for the record, please?
First name's Cammy, last name's O.
Okay. Is it okay if I refer to you as Miss O or
Either
do you have
way.
a preference?
Cameo is generally what I answer to, but whichever.
Okay. And your full legal name is Cammy and just the letter O?
Yes.
All right. Have you gone by any other names?
When I was married,
And what was that?
last name was Wilson Co.
Wilson Co.
The legal name was Cammy O. Wilson-Co. The name before that was Wilson. The name before that was Junkins, Junkins. And the name before that was maiden name Wilson. So I went from Wilson to Junkins, back to Wilson Co. to O.
All right. At the time that your last name was Junkins, were you married?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a married name?
Mm-hmm. That was 1990 to 1994.
Okay, and how did that marriage end?
Divorce?
And when your last name was Wilson Co., were you married at that time?
Yes. 2000 to 2007.
And how did that marriage end?
Divorce?
And do you have any children?
One.
And is that child dependent upon you financially?
He's grown.
So he is not dependent upon you financially?
He graduated A&M in 2012, class of 13.
All right, my name is Yvonne Bennett, and I'm an attorney with the Office of the Attorney General, and I'm the attorney who is here representing the defendant in this case, Texas A&M University, who is a former employer, and that you have filed a lawsuit against in federal court in Houston. And if I refer to the defendant as A&M University or Texas A&M, will you understand that I'm talking about your former employer, Texas A&M University?
Yes.
All right.
Or Tamu, whichever.
Tim, all right. And we're here today to take your deposition, and you are responding to a notice of deposition that was sent out to you. Have you ever given a deposition before?
No.
No. Have you ever filed a civil lawsuit before?
No. Well, divorce count?
Did you file the petition for divorce in both cases?
The first time I did.
And the second time, you're...
I guess he did, yeah.
All right. Other than your second divorce, have you ever been a defendant in
No.
a lawsuit? Okay. Just to lay a couple of ground rules that will help the court reporter as well as the videographer is when I ask a question, and I'll require a verbal answer, and you've been doing fantastic up to this point, so just continue that. It's just difficult for the court reporter to take down shakes of heads or moans and grunts and things like that. So if you answer using words, that will help out everyone.
Okay.
And also, it's important for you to wait until I've completely finished my question before you answer, and then I'll afford you the same courtesy and try to wait till you finish your answer before I ask my next question. If I ask a question and you don't understand, then just let me know that you don't understand or ask me to reword it, and I'll try to do my best to do that. If you need to take a break, just let me know, and then we can take a short break, bathroom break or water break or whatever, and then we'll come back in and go on and finish up. It's not my intention to keep you here all day today. I understand you were a little put off with the wording in the notice of deposition, and I apologize for that, but that was literally just an oversight on my part. It is not my intention to keep you here for hours on end. There's just a little bit of information I want to clear up in preparing the defense for this lawsuit, and that's why we're here. So I'll ask some questions, and then at one point in time, I will have some documents that I will show to you through the court reporter. I'll hand them to her, she has to mark them, and then she'll hand them to you. and then I'll ask you to look them over, and then I'll just ask you a few questions about those documents. So that's my plan for today.
Okay.
And a moment ago, you took an oath and sworn to tell the truth as if you're testifying live before a jury. In fact, we are videotaping your deposition here.
Right.
So if for some reason it becomes necessary to show portions of the deposition, just so you know, that's what we'll be using is the videotape.
So y'all don't swear in front of God now, huh? Because you didn't ever mention that, which I thought was interesting, but okay.
Does the fact that
I just
was
don't
not
like-
said that way, does that inhibit you in any way to tell the whole truth?
No.
Okay.
I have integrity either way. I just thought it was interesting that they leave it out.
Again, if you're confused by any question, just let me know. I'll rephrase it. If you answer the question, then my assumption will be that you understood what I was asking and that the answer that you gave was truthful and complete. Today, are you taking any medication that you believe will inhibit your ability to understand any of the questions I'm asking?
No.
Are you taking any medication that you think would inhibit your ability to truthfully answer any questions? Outside of medication, do you think that there is any limitation that would prevent you from understanding my questions?
Other than I'm not an attorney. Sometimes the vocabulary is over my head.
All right, and if that happens, like I said a
So-
moment ago, just let me know. All right, and are you aware, outside of medication, are you aware of any limitation that you might have that would prevent you from answering truthfully?
No.
All right. Did you talk to anyone to prepare for your deposition today?
No.
All right. Did you look at any documents to prepare for your deposition today?
No.
Was there a time when you sought an attorney to represent you in this lawsuit?
Mm-hmm.
And did you do that outside of the pleadings that you have filed with the court?
It was in 2015.
And did you have an attorney in 2015?
2015 till January of 17, if you want to call it that.
And did you have an attorney during that time?
I thought I did, but I didn't really, but okay.
Okay. What was that person's name?
Derek Howard.
And at no time has Mr. Howard represented you in this lawsuit, to your knowledge?
And this one that's federal court?
Right.
No.
Okay. Outside of Mr. Howard, have you spoken to anyone else about this lawsuit?
In search for an attorney I had.
All right. Were those other attorneys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know all of them, but okay.
No, that's fine. I'm not going to ask you their names. But besides other attorneys, have you talked to anybody else about the lawsuit?
Legal aid.
Was that again in search for an attorney? Okay. Okay, I just want to get a little background information. Did you attend college?
A little bit.
And where was that?
Art Institute of Atlanta, 1985, 86.
And is that while you lived in
Which
Atlanta?
it's actually accredited, but most people don't think it is.
Okay. Was that while you lived in, did you live in Atlanta at the time?
I grew up in Atlanta.
Okay. How long have you been in Texas?
Since 1992. I've worked at A&M almost the entire time.
All right. Did you move to Texas specifically for the job at A&M?
No, my sister lived here.
And did your sister also work for A&M at the time? Does your sister still work at A&M?
No.
And you said for a little while at the Art Institute in Atlanta. Did you get any degree or anything?
I didn't finish.
Okay. And when you moved to Texas, did you continue your studies at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, so you started working for A&M.
Does the apprenticeship count as school?
What apprenticeship is that?
The carpenter apprenticeship that I completed at A&M.
All right, my next question was going to be about any schooling you had at A&M. Was that apprenticeship a requirement for your full-time job there?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I should say yes, shouldn't I? All right.
Thank you. And so when you were hired in, the person who hired you told you that you needed to complete this apprenticeship?
I had 3 different jobs at A&M.
Okay, what was your first one in 92?
92 was parking officer.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Parking officer, PSO 1. And I got promoted to PSO 2 in
Okay.
like 94.
Mm-hmm.
The apprenticeship started in September of 95.
And what prompted you to start the apprenticeship?
Harassment.
Harassment prompted you to start an apprenticeship in...
To switch jobs,
Carpentry.
yes, ma'am.
All right, so your purpose in taking the apprenticeship was to get a different job?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kinder care hours, same benefits.
And what was the new job you were seeking?
The apprenticeship had a paper that listed the trades, and you put which ones you were interested in order. And I checked carpentry as the first one.
Okay, and did you complete your apprenticeship?
Yes.
And after you completed your apprenticeship, did you become...
I stayed another year.
You stayed another year as the
As a
parking officer?
No, I was a carpenter 1. The apprenticeship was in carpentry.
Correct.
So I went from working for parking and transit to working for physical plant, different department.
All right, and so when you completed your apprenticeship...
The apprenticeship was through physical plant. So the first year was apprentice 1, the second year was apprentice 2, the third year was apprentice 3, and the fourth year was the carpenter 1.
Okay.
So each title was like a raise and a title change.
Okay, gotcha. So do you recall what year you became a carpenter 1?
It would have been May of '98 was the graduation, but I think officially it was September 1st because that's just how they do things.
Okay. And how long did you remain a carpenter?
Until I went to work for health and safety,
Okay.
which I'm technically still a carpenter, but I don't work that because it's like I didn't forget.
I see. All right. So you went and worked for health and safety. Is that the EHS?
Yeah, environmental health and safety. Back then they went by EHSD, but somewhere along the line they dropped the D.
Okay. And what was your position with EHS?
Safety Tech 1.
And when did you become Safety Tech 1?
September 27th, 1999.
Okay. And were you still in the EHS department when your employment was terminated?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to have the court reporter hand to you what will be marked as Exhibit 1. I'll walk through it a little bit. I just have some questions. Okay, you can take your time just to kind of thumb through it if you want. Do you recognize this document?
I recognize the title.
All right. Can you just let the jury know what title is on the document?
Plaintiff Cameo's opposed second amended complaint.
And did you write this document?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you also typed it up?
Yes.
All right. if we flip back to, I apologize, I thought I had the page marked. If we go near the back of it, and it's page 17,
Yes.
and at the top of page 17, it's entitled Prayer. When you drafted this document, was it your intention to let the court know what relief you desired from this lawsuit in this section entitled Prayer?
That is my understanding.
Okay. I just want to ask you a couple of questions about a couple of parts. If we go right in the middle of the page, and it asks for an award of front pay. Are you able to let the jury know what amount you're requesting in front pay?
I haven't sat down and figured it out.
Okay.
But if you paid me $50,000 a year till age of retirement, 65, it's $1 million. But yeah, you know, it's been hard to look at.
Do you recall what your salary was when you were terminated?
$20 and a penny an hour.
And do you recall how many hours you worked
40 hours a week.
Okay. And did you work 4 weeks a month typically? Okay.
Full time.
All right, and I have the same question basically when you ask about the value of lost benefits.
Right.
Again, do you have a specific amount in mind?
I'd have to look and see what the vacation was a month that I got, and I know it was going to increase because of longevity. I also used to get longevity pay.
All right, so when we're talking about the components, so we're talking about lost vacation pay,
Sick leave.
you talked about longevity,
And the medical insurance.
when you separated from A&M, were you provided medical insurance for any period of time after the effective date of your termination?
They gave the COBRA document, but it was like $700 or $800 a month if you wanted to pay that.
Okay.
It was ridiculous.
So under COBRA, you would have been required to pay $700 or $800
Yeah,
a month?
which was like crazy amount of money. And the, I can't even think of the word. The unemployment is just at the don't meet hospitalization amount.
Did you apply for unemployment? And you received it? How long?
Till September, yeah, February to September of 16.
Oh, 16, okay.
I think it was about $11,000,
Total?
somewhere in there, yeah.
And did you get any other government benefits?
There was food stamps at one point, whatever they call that now.
Okay. And do you recall how long you received food stamps?
No, a few months.
And it was a few months right after your separation from Tammy? Okay.
I'm not sure when it started, ended. I'd have to look.
If we go down to the next sentence, and we talk about, or you ask the jury to award you back pay. Do you have an amount for that in mind?
I haven't sat down and done this.
Okay, and that's fine.
It's very difficult for me to do any of this.
Have you calculated or been able to quantify any monetary amount?
You know, other than sitting down with a calculator and figuring it out by hour and what the sick leave and what the vacation is, you know.
Now, have you done that? I'm just asking what you've done up to this point. Okay, and that's fine. I'm just here trying to get information. Is it your intention to try to sit down and calculate and quantify an amount of damages that you're seeking? Do you want to take a break?
No.
Okay.
I don't know a number that would make it feel better.
All right, and what I'm asking you here today, you've told me you haven't sat down and calculated, and I'm just asking if you plan to do that at some point
Well,
in the
that's
near
the logical
future.
idea, I think, behind it, because there's no fixing what happened.
A little further down, you ask for an award of compensatory damages for emotional pain and suffering. Have you, or did you seek help from any healthcare facility or healthcare provider after your separation?
You talking about mental health care?
Either, whether you saw a
I don't have
medical
insurance,
doctor?
so no.
Okay. So no psychiatrist or psychologist?
No,
And how about a medical doctor?
no.
Okay.
I mean, other than I was in the hospital, but that wasn't emotional. That was stress, talk, sick.
Do you believe your hospital stay was caused by your separation from A&M?
I think it played a role.
Okay. Can you tell a jury what role it played?
The amount of stress that I was in for months, and the fact that I'm diabetic, and it just wore me out.
Okay. Were you diabetic before January of 2016? Okay. When were you diagnosed diabetic?
I would think 2007.
And when were you in the hospital?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
It's early 2016, but right now I'm not thinking what month.
Do you know whether or not your hospital stay came after February of 2016?
I applied for unemployment on the 14th, so I would say yes after. I was sick before that, but I didn't know it.
Okay, I'm a little unclear about something, so let me back up. You applied for unemployment on the 14th of what month?
February.
Okay. And you went into the hospital after you applied for unemployment?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't get paid for that week.
And a moment ago, you testified that you were sick before that.
As in, I was in pain a lot,
Okay,
and I just ignored it.
all right, and the before that, the that you're referring to, is it your hospital stay or your application for unemployment?
Before the hospital stay.
Were you sick before, when you talk about in pain, before, were you in pain before January of 2016?
I was in pain a lot during the summer of 15 and during 16, yeah.
Do you recall, were you diagnosed with a specific health issue in the summer of 2015?
Well, the neck was a thing, and then just overall pain. It was a lot of stress. So that's one of the, I mean, you know, you just live with it. You don't know how much something hurts till it stops.
When did you begin experiencing the pain?
Which one?
The neck or the other pain you're referring to?
The neck, by the time I figured out it was actually a thing, it was March of 15.
And did you go see a doctor? Mm-hmm. And what did the doctor tell you?
That actually I went to an ear doctor because I thought it was an earache, and he said it was my neck.
Did he prescribe?
No, I went to a chiropractor.
Okay. And were you treated by that chiropractor?
A little bit, but again, all this other stuff was going on, so I just focused on Reiki and
Okay.
frequency healing. The first report of injury was backdated so that it was tossed out. And I couldn't deal with that and everything else.
Just so we can keep the record clear here. Are you attributing your hospital stay to your termination from A&M University?
Yeah.
And were you diagnosed with a particular illness or condition while you were in the hospital?
Kidney infection.
And did the doctor explain to you that there was a connection with,
It was not discussed.
the doctor didn't tell you the cause of the kidney infection?
It was not discussed. If it was, I don't remember it.
Was there any other condition or illness diagnosed while you were in the hospital? Okay. Was there any other condition or illness diagnosed as the cause for you to be in the hospital?
No. I mean, my white cell count was very high. My red cell count was way low. I was about to suffocate.
And your doctor explained to you that was all from a kidney infection?
It took them 3 days to figure it out. That's why I was in the hospital.
And did your doctor say that all that was from a kidney infection?
That's my belief. I'd have to look at the documents to tell you for sure. And I don't even know who my doctor was.
Okay. And do you have those documents?
I could try to look for them, yeah.
Okay, if you would please, when you get back home today, if you could gather all that stuff together and make copies and send them to me. Are you able to do that?
I am. I'm not sure if it's kosher,
Kosher.
just because it's medical records and it's personal, but I'm like, I guess if it has to do with A&M, it is, huh?
Well, what it has to do with, and you can decide if you want to continue, is you're asking the jury to award you medical expenses.
Right.
And if you prove that your medical expenses are caused by a hospital stay that you believe was caused by something that A&M University did,
Okay.
then I'm going to need the paperwork to support the amount of those medical expenses as well as the diagnosis from a doctor.
Okay. Because my feeling is, when they fired me, my insurance ended. And I'd had the same insurance for 23 and a half years. So COBRA was like more than my house note, and I'm unemployed, and I'm type 2 diabetic, and I've been under a lot of stress. You know, how was I supposed to take care of everything now? Everything had hit the fan. So to me, it's related in the fact that I was terminated and I lost my insurance, which denied me the access to the medical care, which would have helped me not be as sick as I was. Anyway.
Right, all I'm
Yeah.
asking for, or you refer to documents, you said you'd have to go back and look at them.
Right.
To even figure
All I
out
remember
the
is my red
documents.
cell count was 700, and that's supposed to be low. But
Well, if you
I
can
don't-
just send me whatever documents you have to support your claim for medical expenses,
Right.
I
Okay.
would appreciate that. And specifically for the documents that are linked to your hospital stay.
Okay.
And do you recall whether or not you had any visits to a doctor, let's say from the beginning of January 2016?
I went and got my teeth cleaned and stuff finished before the insurance ran out.
Okay, but that's not affected, I mean, that's not connected to, you're not trying to claim expenses for your dental work? Okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure that the hospital visit was, the hospital visit is what you're referring to when you're talking about medical expenses? Mm-hmm. All right. After your separation from A&M University, how quickly did you get another job?
I worked for a week for FedEx. That was temporary. My first delivery was to my office. Isn't that a trip?
Do you know how much you were being paid by FedEx?
Not specifically.
And
Again, I've got it written down. It was whatever a week's pay was at 15 an hour.
so it's 15 an hour?
And I'm not sure how many hours it was. It seems like it was 15 an hour. I've got it written down somewhere.
All right, again, if you could, send me that information. How soon did you begin working for FedEx?
It was late August.
Of 2016?
Yes.
All right, and you separated from A&M University effective February 12th of 2016, correct?
Yes.
So from February 13th of 2016 to late August of 2016, you were unemployed?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you recall applying for other jobs before you got the job at FedEx? Do you recall about how many jobs you applied for?
No.
Do you know if it was more than 5?
I really don't know. And the unemployment required me to do 3.
And do you believe that at the very least you were doing
Yes.
the minimum required for unemployment? And when you worked for FedEx, did you work as a contractor or were you an employee of FedEx?
No, it was contract. It was FedEx Ground.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said?
FedEx Ground, it was contractor.
Okay. And do you know why it was only a week?
No, other than he hired me over the phone. And then when I got there, he asked me how much I could lift. So I think the job description said something high.
Oh, okay.
He pretty much treated me like he was trying to make me quit. And by Wednesday, I said, I'm not going to quit. You're going to have to fire me.
Okay.
And he just kind of smirked and was like, and I said, I can't quit because I'm on unemployment. And if I quit, then the unemployment doesn't work. So if you want me gone, you're going to have to fire me. And so Sunday, instead of calling to let me know to come in Monday, he called in and I said, and he was kind of hesitant. And I said, are you calling to fire me? And he said, uh-huh. But he didn't say why.
Oh, he did not say why?
I did the job.
And after that phone call from FedEx letting you go, did you try to, did you apply for another job someplace else?
I applied for the state fire marshal deputy position.
And what's the organization? Is it the?
Insurance?
Okay.
Insurance, whatever. Oh, I don't know what you call it. I should know what you call it, but I don't.
Okay. And you're, the gentleman who hired you at FedEx, you remember his name?
Richard?
And no last name?
I have it somewhere, but not at this time do I remember it.
And did you ever report to that office? Did you ever report to the office where he was?
About what?
I don't know, to pick up a job assignment or anything? Did you ever go to the office?
I had to go to the office to apply for the job, and they knew that I'd left. I mean, he
I'm
called
talking
in.
about the FedEx office. You said he hired you over the phone.
Oh, yeah. No, I had to go through the FedEx office, and then he hired me over the phone.
Oh, I see. And
Because he was a contractor through that office, I guess. It was unusual.
Okay.
Yeah.
What office did you go to?
The one that's on Highway 6 North, right there at 2018, kind of in that area.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that's originally where I went to apply and jump through all those hoops.
Okay. And that was your first job after your separation from A&M University, right? And so that was in late August. Okay, so then you said you applied for fire marshal?
The deputy position, yeah, with the
Okay.
state fire marshal's office.
Now, is that a state of Texas? Mm-hmm. Okay. And was that an online application?
Yes, yes,
And were you interviewed for that position?
yes.
Where were you interviewed?
333 Guadalupe Street, Austin?
Okay, in Austin, okay. And was that position offered to you?
No.
And do you remember when you had your interview?
It was late 2016. If I had to guess on a date, is September 21st a Monday?
Okay, I don't know, but you believe it
Somewhere
was that Monday?
thereabouts.
Okay, and that was your interview, 9/21/2000, or about 9/21/2016. And you said you did not get that position?
Say again?
You did not get that position?
No, I did not.
Was there a second interview?
No.
Okay. And after you interviewed for that position, did you put in other applications?
Mm-hmm.
And did you have any more interviews?
Not that year. No.
Okay. When was your next job?
2017. When did it? Let's see. I'd have to look at my calendar to walk you through who did what, but the temporary services are usually what I signed up for because they seem to be more active.
Okay. Do you recall which?
Seems like I worked 2017, March to May. It was just under 3 months. Because at the 3-month mark, they would have had to hire me because they paid me through Express,
I see.
the temp. And so at the 3-month mark, and I think that's where whatever that situation changes, like from Express to whoever the owner is.
Okay.
And I was let go right before the 3-month mark.
Okay. Did they give you a reason why they let you go?
No, but he yelled at me 2 weeks before that belligerently in front of the coffee machine out of the blue. I kind of figured he was trying to make me quit, and I just didn't. So 2 weeks later, she just came in and said, "I've been told to let you go." But, okay.
So you went through the Express Temp agency, and what was the site? Where were you working?
Machine Works.
Is that the name of the company? Mm-hmm. What was your job there?
Sat at a desk, answered the phone, learned all about metal and the common names for it, took orders.
Okay.
I haven't thought about it in a really long time, so mostly I was just very busy. They do stuff for SpaceX, and so all metal has a birth certificate, and you have to keep track of all the paperwork and who, what, where.
Okay. And who was your supervisor there?
Julie is her first name.
Oh. Who was the gentleman that yelled at you?
The owner?
Do you recall his name?
No.
Do you know what he yelled at you about?
On a phone, the way they wrote, you do phone messages, you put the thing in the note in the email title. Mm-hmm. And I spelt pain like, I don't know, however, either P-A-I-N, anyway, it was a name. And the way it was supposed to have been, whatever the name was, I spelled it like the word instead of the name.
Okay.
But it was a phone message. So he got it, and it was the name, and it was the phone number, and I did it the way. And the day before, you know, it was back and forth, and I thought it was fine. And then the next morning, she had warned me when I got hired that he had a way of doing that to people. I had seen him do it to somebody else. So when he did it to me, I was like, oh, my turn. Mean.
Are you saying he was mean? And when you say doing that to people, what's the that? What that are you referring to?
I wish I knew. Hostile work environment is the legal term? Like belligerently angry?
He was as a boss, is that what you're saying?
Well, just not all the time, but yeah. He told me I was too happy. Which I thought was weird.
And so you believe you were let go from that in May of 2017?
I don't know that I was let go for that. I think he was trying to get me to walk out.
Okay. Oh, I meant let go from Machine Works.
Yeah, she came and sat down before lunch and told me that he had told her to let me go.
All right. What was your next job after that?
I think Kelly Temp.
Are you working full-time now?
No, not full-time. I'm part-time lately.
Is it still through a temp agency?
No, it's retail
Where?
at home. Since the 5th
Since the 5th of?
this month.
So May 5th, 2019. And is that a permanent position, to your knowledge?
Yeah, as far as I know.
And are you working part-time because they don't have full-time available?
No, they don't have full-time available. And it's a lot of stress to be pro se.
So is it your choice to only work part-time?
I am not able to deal with all of this and focus forward on a career. He didn't have anything available but part-time, but that's why I accepted it.
Okay.
And it's better than nothing.
Before you accepted this part-time position, were you seeking full-time employment?
I have been all along. I'm not sure if they just think I didn't fill out the application because of my name being a letter.
So I think we ended up, at least date-wise, in May of 2017 to May of 2019. During that 2-year period, have you been employed?
Okay, so March to May was Machine Works.
Right.
The next thing I can remember after that is Kelly Services substitute teaching. That would have been, without my calendar, it's hard to think it straight. So that would have been so 2018 May. So May 25th, 2018 to February 8th, I think, if it was a Friday, 2019, I was full-time at Tractor Supply nearby.
Okay. And how did that job end?
June 30th, I was berated by the younger black female supervisor, and I submitted a complaint because she was intense, and it came out of left field, and I found out that there had been 4 other employees complain of her behavior. Anyway, I was bullied by her almost nonstop. She did to me in those months what A&M did to me for 20 years. It was a trip to watch.
Can we take a step back just
Yeah.
so I can keep my notes straight? Pardon me for interrupting. When you were at Kelly Temp, as a substitute teacher, what were the dates of that employment?
Oh, I have no idea. I would have to look on the calendar for when I worked.
But it was before you started full-time at Tractor Supply?
Correct.
All right. So in February of 2019 at Tractor Supply, did you quit or were you fired?
I was fired.
And what did you do after that?
I'm at home. I'm doing that at-home job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from February 9th, 2019 to May 4th, 2019, were you employed anywhere?
No.
All right, gotcha. Do you recall what you were making at Tractor and Supply?
I started at $11.50 and it was $11.79 in December of 18.
And you said that was full-time. All right. Kelly Temp, do you have any idea what you were making?
No, I don't remember that. And Tractor Supply's idea full-time is anything over, is 35 hours.
I see.
It's
Thank
not
you.
40.
Thank you. Kelly Temp. And then Express Temp. Do you have any idea what you were making or what you made while you were there?
You know, I don't remember. I could, I'm sure I could figure it out, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
All right. Any information that you can give me about how much money you made from the time you separated from A&M University till today would be very helpful. So whatever you can pull together, I appreciate it. Thank you. Now you found out, you were notified of your termination at A&M University about a week before it became effective, a week or two before it became effective. Once you were notified, did you start looking for a new job at that time?
I believe I did. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, no problem.
And it was January 29th when they fired me. About 4:30 in the afternoon. With no conference.
Do you recall when Swati Kale became your supervisor at A&M University?
Uh, 2015, I'm not sure of the date because it was unclear. It was not communicated.
Do you remember the name of your supervisor before Ms. Kale?
David Ziegler? Ziegler? I always put an L in it, but there's no L in it. It's Ziegler. Ziegler. He started, I believe, in October
October of?
2014.
I see. So do you think he was your supervisor for less than a year?
Correct.
The court reporter is going to hand you what will be marked as Exhibit 2. If you could take a look at that. Do you recognize this document? And
Yes.
can you tell the jury what this document is?
Plaintiff's reply to order docket 43 and defendant's original answer docket 45.
And did you draft this
Correct?
document?
Yes.
If you would please turn with me to page 6.
There's not a 6. There's an 8. And there's a 9. But there's not a 6.
On the bottom, I think at the top it also says page 6 of 12.
Oh, that, you're going to the top, because
Oh,
I'm
I'm
like,
sorry.
something's missing in here. This doesn't have everything. Because it goes 9, 11, 12. Yeah, it's so not right.
May I see your copy, please? I apologize. It might have been copied incorrectly.
Well, at one point, when they scanned that stuff, they lost a page, but I don't remember which document it was. Yeah, that one's,
Yep.
I could probably look at it and tell you what's missing, but
No, it is probably a copying error on my part. Yeah, well, this one's missing it too. Okay, I apologize. So, we just won't deal with that one. Do you need to do, does it still become a part of your record?
Unless you withdraw it.
I'll withdraw it. I'll withdraw it. Do I mark this out and do anything, or?
Or we can mark the next one too.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. You don't have to do that right now.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. Can you read back my last question?
Before we start on this exhibit.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Question, do you think he was your supervisor for less than a year? Answer correct.
Gotcha, okay. How did you learn that Swati Kale was going to become your new supervisor?
I believe it was the first meeting of the inspectors.
And how many inspectors were in your department?
I don't know.
Was it more than 5?
And when you say my department, do you mean fire and safety or do you mean EHS?
Fire and safety.
Then probably less than 5 is fire and safety. Yeah, it would be less than 5 if it was fire safety.
All right. Does that help you better to remember how many there were? So it's such a small number?
It depends on if you mean inspector by title. And the titles, I didn't always know what everybody's title was.
All right. Well, let me ask it this way. Do you have any idea how many employees were supervised by Swati Kale?
No, I don't.
According to the title, do you know how many fire inspectors there were in the fire and safety department?
I could estimate a guess, but no, sitting here in 2019, no.
Well, let's talk about, and I apologize, let's talk about the time period of 2015 up until your termination in 2016.
Oh, 15 and 16? They restructured in May of 15.
Okay, and how did that affect your department?
It booted me out from under James Rayner.
And is that when Swati Kale became your supervisor?
There was an announcement April 21st at the tail end of a departmental meeting that said the restructure will be in effect May 1st. That's how I found out. That's all it was said.
And there was no
And I raised my
explanation?
hand and asked, you know, when will we know the specifics of this? And she looked at James Rayner, and I thought you called her. And he turned all red and started to squirm.
And who's the she?
Christina Robertson,
And do you know what
director.
her position was? Director
EHS
of?
director that fired me in January.
She was the director of what, do you know?
EHS.
So on April 21st, 2015, when the announcement was made about the restructure, you were not informed that your supervisor was going to be Swati Kale?
No. Matter of fact, John Fields followed me up to my office and said that he would treat me better than than they have been. So I was under the impression he was going to be my supervisor.
And did that come to be?
No.
When did you realize that Swati Kale was your supervisor?
I believe it was the first inspector meeting.
And when was that, do you know?
Without looking at my calendar, I'm going to guess that it is May 5th of 15.
And at this meeting, how many inspectors were in the room?
It was a conference table, so more than 5, but I don't know. I really don't remember.
And do you know whether or not any of those others had the same job title that you had at the time?
I have no idea what their job titles were. I didn't even know what my job title was. As far as I knew, my job title had remained the same because nobody had said anything.
So at this meeting, which I believe you testified that you believe took place on May 5th, 2015, was it announced that Swati Kale was your supervisor?
It seems like it was.
And did she speak during that meeting?
If she did, I don't remember.
Before that meeting, did you know who Swati Kale was?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you know her?
We used to give safety presentations together.
At what time was this?
2000, it was after John Fellers vacated, so I want to say 2010 to 2013. She did the lab safety portion of it, and I did the fire safety portion of it.
How would you describe your working relationship at that time?
We were friends. I went to her baby's christening. She was not the same person in 2015.
Okay, let's go back to when you first discovered that Swati Kale was your supervisor. And you believe at that meeting that there were more than 5 other employees in the room. Do you think that there were more than 10?
I don't know.
Other than you and Swati Kale, do you recall if there were other women in the room?
No.
No, I don't recall, or no, there were no other women?
I don't recall any other women in the room. No.
Do you know whether or not there were any other fire inspectors? at that time,
I don't
2015 to
remember.
2016? Did you
In that
work-
meeting, say that again.
My original question was whether or not you recalled there being any other women in that meeting on May 5th, 2015.
Not that I recall.
All right. Do you know whether or not there were any other female fire inspectors
No,
during that time?
no.
No, there were not.
The only other fire inspector I ever knew that was female was Billy Rose, and I forget what year that was.
But she was not there in 2015 when Swati
No.
Kale became your supervisor?
No. She worked there like 2 years of the 16 years. As far as I know, she was the only other female hired for fire safety the entire time I was there. I was the only girl.
Well, Swati Kale was,
Swati Quayle wasn't fire safety.
but she was your supervisor, right?
Late 2015, they made her my supervisor to make it look like I didn't work for James Rayner.
How long before Swati Kale became your supervisor did you work with James Rayner?
From September of 1999 until May 1st of 2016.
May 1st of 2015, do you mean?
15, yeah, I said that wrong, didn't I? Yeah, so May 1st. When they restructured the department, that removed me from looking like I worked for James Rayner.
You keep saying looking like you worked for James Rayner.
They had 2 assistant directors. When they restructured, they moved me under Brad Urbanzik.
Did you still report to James Rayner in any way?
No, Brad did for fire safety stuff because he didn't know fire safety. They just conveniently moved James.
So you find out that Swati Kale is going to be your supervisor in this larger meeting. Was there a time soon after that that you met one-on-one with Ms. Kale?
Nothing's particular. I don't really understand the question exactly.
You testified that on May 5th, 2015, that there was a meeting and Swati Kale was introduced as your new supervisor.
Okay.
You also testified that there were others in the room. You believe more than 5. You don't know if it was more than 10. My question is, after that large meeting, soon after that, let's say within the next month, did you have a one-on-one meeting with Ms. Kale?
I don't remember.
Do you recall the next time you interacted with Ms. Kale after the
I remember talking to her on June 30th.
June 30th of 2015?
Mm-hmm.
What was that conversation about?
I felt like they were using her as a scapegoat, making her my supervisor, and that they had restructured the department in order to make it look like I didn't work for James Rayner because I had complained of discrimination the year before.
And why did you share that with Ms. Kale?
Because she was my friend and I felt like she was being used.
And how did she respond to what you told her?
She acted like she didn't know what I was talking about. They wouldn't do that. I was like, yeah, they would.
While Ms. Kale was your supervisor, did she ever make any derogatory comments about the fact that you're a female?
I don't remember.
If she had done that, were you aware of a process at A&M University where you could have made a complaint if she had done something like that?
That's what got me fired.
Objection not responsive. Were you aware of a process at A&M University where you could complain if you felt like someone had called or made derogatory comments toward you because you were female? Were you aware of a process at A&M University to make such a complaint?
I made such a complaint, yes.
Did you make a complaint like that against Ms. Kale?
I made a complaint against Ms. Kale for suspending me from being able to request a vacation, for being behind on inspections when the male inspectors were years behind on their inspections and they were not suspended from being able to request vacation.
Did Ms. Kale ever make a derogatory remark to you because you were female?
She generally avoided me. I didn't see her much. I do not
Objection.
remember her saying that to me.
Okay. What is your religion?
And what are my choices? What religion?
Well, you have filed a complaint or you're
Right.
claiming religious discrimination.
Correct. And the definition of religious is what your belief is. You're entitled to your beliefs. You don't necessarily have to have a religion.
Let's go back and look at your complaint. I believe that's exhibit number 1.
Right. And in the law, the way it reads, the definition of religious discrimination is that people are entitled to their beliefs.
Well, what's your belief that you believe got you fired?
What is the belief that got me fired?
According to your complaint, you're making a claim that
The religious?
You were discriminated against because of your religion. I'm asking you, what is that religion?
Okay. It's not that I was discriminated against for religion like Baptist, Methodist, whatever. It's that I was shunned and isolated and left out and not included and treated like they were afraid of me. You would have to ask them what their perceptions were, but I'm sure that it had something to do with mine having bled to death in '90 and me talking about it, you know, to different whoever. And I don't know, but I know that I was treated as if I didn't exist.
Do you believe you were fired because of your religion?
I believe I was fired because I'm different and whatever. They didn't interact with me. I was not there. You know, I was there and not there. I was treated like I did not exist. I was told, be careful what you talk about, but I was not told what that was.
Do you believe you were fired because of your religion?
I believe I was fired because I know God's real.
Did you express this sentiment to Ms. Kale?
Again, Kale and I did not meet very often at all. Most of the conversations were via email.
Did you share with Ms. Kale that you held religious beliefs?
I don't remember if I did or not.
Did you share with Christina Robertson that you had religious beliefs?
I don't remember.
Do you have any reason to believe Ms. Kale fired you because of your religious beliefs?
I think it's part of it. I don't think it was just Miss Kale that fired me.
Well, who else do you think was involved in firing you?
Human Resources.
Someone in particular at Human Resources?
There's a whole list. Just all of it. It's been going on for years.
No, I'm talking about your termination.
Yeah, it's been going on for years.
No, your termination occurred on a specific day. That's what we're talking about.
I was terminated after I submitted a complaint that the men weren't suspended from vacation and that the eye wash showers
So is
were
it
behind on for years.
Is it your claim you were terminated because you filed a complaint, or is it your contention that you were terminated because of your religious beliefs?
I think I was terminated because I didn't quit. She yelled at me, dared me to file another complaint with HR.
Miss O?
I couldn't say why they fired me. All it said was for work performance.
Well, then let's break out your complaint again. Let's take a look at exhibit number 1. Because in exhibit number 1, you do spell out, at least at that time, what you believe was the reason for your firing.
There's a lot of reasons.
Let's talk about what you put in your complaint. Let's look at exhibit number 1. And the court has limited you to determination, gender discrimination, religious discrimination, and retaliation. I am asking you questions about your religious discrimination claim. Now, we can get into all that other stuff here a little bit later, but right now I need you to focus. At the time of your termination, do you believe it occurred because of your religious beliefs?
Yes,
And why do you think that?
because of how I was treated.
Treated by Ms. Kale?
Treated by Texas A&M.
Did Texas A&M, everyone in Texas A&M vote to fire you?
I wouldn't know that.
Who do you believe requested your termination?
According to the documents sent to the EEOC, 10 out of the 12 witness statements lied about me.
Let's take a look at your termination letter. Reporter's going to mark this as Exhibit 2. Do you recognize this document?
Yes,
And was there a time when you received this document?
the afternoon of January 29th, 16.
Okay. Was it handed to you, emailed, or how did you get it?
About 4:30 in the afternoon, Christina Robertson, Brad Urbanzik, John Fields, and Swati Kale walked into my office and shut the door.
I'm sorry, did you say Sean Fields?
John Fields,
Oh, John Fields, I apologize. Brad,
Urbanzik,
Christine,
Christina Robertson,
and then Swati Kale.
Swati Kale and John Fields left, and that left Christina Robertson and Brad Urbanzik.
Who handed you the letter?
Brad Urbanzik.
And was Miss Kale already in the room when you were handed the letter?
I don't remember when she left. They all four came in, and then the two of them left. But I don't remember if it was before or after they handed me the letter. I know she wouldn't make eye contact with me.
When they entered the room, did you make any sort of statement to them?
I said, wait right there while I turn the recorder on.
And they agreed with you turning on the recorder?
I guess they did. They didn't disagree.
And you kept the recording going the whole time of the meeting?
As a protection device, yes, ma'am.
Where's that recording now?
There wasn't anything on it, so I don't know that I have it. I just did it to keep them from yelling at me.
So it did not record?
It recorded. I don't know if I kept it. I'd have to look. There wasn't anything relevant. You know, I put it on so they didn't yell at me anymore. They were hostile towards me when they did meetings. I was scared of them. When I called HR and when I emailed HR and asked for help, they didn't offer me any. They said there was nothing they could do.
Was it a
So
surprise to you when you were handed this letter of
Yeah,
termination?
tremendous. Yes.
So is it your testimony that you had no indication that
Correct.
your work performance was inadequate?
I know I was getting attacked, but I know that I was working and that I was keeping track of it and that I was turning stuff in. And she kept changing what she was assigning me, and every witness meeting was hostile. And each one was worse than the next one. And when I contacted HR and told them I was afraid to go to these meetings, they said, they referred me to whatever the mediator thing was. I got run around in circles and nobody did anything. So yes, when they all four walked in to fire me, I had no idea.
Who handed you the letter?
Brad Urbanzik.
And when you read the letter, did you ask any questions of Brad or Christina?
No.
And who signed off on the letter?
It says Swati Kale and Christina Robertson.
What's the basis of your belief that there were others involved in the decision to terminate you?
The witness statements that were given to VP Finance that are in that 260-page document that's given to the EEOC from A&M.
In these witness statements, did any of the witnesses say that you ought to be fired?
I don't remember.
Then what is your basis?
I remember the witness statement saying that I yelled at Swati Kale when I did not.
I'm talking specifically
I'd have to look
about,
at it.
I'm talking specifically about the decision to terminate your employment at A&M University. What evidence do you have that someone other than Swati Kale or Christina Robertson was involved in that decision to fire you?
Because the witness statements were given to the VP, and the VP was asked for permission to fire me based on those witness statements. And those witness statements are slanderous, libel, whatever the vocabulary word is. They lied and called me insubordinate and accused me of all sorts of things I was not guilty of, and I was not asked to defend myself. I was just fired.
Do you recall any of the names of the people who wrote these witness statements?
Yes.
Can you tell me the names?
I don't know that I can tell you all of them.
Well, tell me the names.
They're in the documents.
Tell me the names of the people you believe decided to terminate you from A&M University.
The people that I named in the document with the summons that the judge referred to, if I wanted to go individually, that I could do the FMLA, those people that are listed in that document.
See?
I don't know it by heart. I can't recite it.
Tell me what you think right now. Who do you think made the decision to fire you?
I'm telling you what I think right now. The people I listed in the document that I wrote summons for.
I need you to give me some names right now, other than Swati Kale and Christina Robertson, because they've signed off on the letter to terminate you.
Right.
Who else do you believe was involved in the decision to terminate you?
The list of 25 people that are in the thing. And
So
those are
sitting here
just
now,
the
you
ones I
can't
know
name
about.
anybody to me.
I'm not going to sit here and
Do
try
you
to
believe
guess
you
all the
will sit
names.
here and answer the questions that I ask you to?
I am answering.
Because you're required to do that because you filed a lawsuit.
And I'm answering you.
No, you're not.
I'm just not telling you what you want to hear.
No, you're not answering my question, ma'am.
I am answering you.
I have a right
am
to ask
saying
you questions
the 25
about,
people.
please stop talking when I am talking. You agreed to do that when we started. I expect you to honor your word. I will ask you a question, and you can answer the question. If the answer is I don't know, then you stop at I don't know. You have been sworn to tell the truth. You have sworn to tell the truth completely and fully. And that is my expectation, is that is what you will do here today.
Not a problem.
Did Christina Robertson ever make any derogatory comment to you about you being a female?
I don't remember.
You've already testified that Swati Kale, you don't remember Swati Kale doing that, correct?
My complaint against Swati Kale was that she didn't suspend the men, but she suspended me.
In regards to your termination, Ms. O, do you believe Swati Kale based her decision to request your termination on the fact that you are female?
You would have to ask Swati Kale.
I'm asking what you believe.
I believe it is part of the whole deal, yes.
And why? Did she say something that was derogatory about you being female?
I don't remember.
Did she engage in any kind of conduct that led you to believe that
Yes.
she treated you worse because you're a female?
Again, I was suspended for being behind on inspections, and she didn't say what inspections or how to fix it or anything. And the men were over 3 years behind.
What men?
The male inspectors that worked for her.
Who are they?
Jerry's one of them.
What is Jerry's last name?
I don't know.
Who else?
I can't remember. It's too much stress to try and remember the names. It's all written down. I have the notes. I have the documents. I have the complaint. You have the complaint. It's written down. It's noted.
The jury wants to know. So tell the jury.
The jury can read the documents. That's why I noted it back then. It was 3 or 4 years ago. You want me to name every person's name?
I want you to tell me what men who were in the same position that you were in
Right.
were way behind on their inspections, but they weren't denied whatever this leave
Jerry is the
you
first
said.
name, and
what are
as
the
far as I
others?
know, he did the eye wash stuff. All I know is she was in charge of the eye washes because I asked her, and she answered me on the email.
Objection, non-responsive. What men,
Objection, I'm doing the best I can.
what men were behind on their inspections, yet still received permission to take leave from work?
You would have to ask Swati Kale because she was their supervisor.
I'm asking you. You're telling me that these men existed. I'm asking you
They
to
do
tell me what
exist.
men. Who are they?
I did not work hand in hand with people. I did my job and they did theirs.
So it's your assumption that there were men who were behind on
She
their
had
inspections.
all the other inspectors that worked for her. No, I know they were behind because I turned in the daggum database for the eye wash inspections that for the buildings that were behind on campus that were supposed to be done annually. Because I went to the Jackie Brown building as I was inspecting it and saw the eye washes myself.
Do you know that they requested leave during a time that they were behind on their inspections?
Well, let's see. I was suspended from leave from July to November, so it would be my assumption that you want to tell me that nobody was suspended?
It is your assumption that they
Right.
were
I
they
submitted
were
a complaint and it
refused
was not answered. I was fired first.
leave. You're assuming that there were men.
Based on the evidence that I had.
Let me finish asking my question, please. You are assuming that there were men, that there were male inspectors who were behind on their inspections that were granted permission to take leave, correct? That's your assumption, correct?
Based on the facts that I had, it is a fact that there were men that worked for Swati Kale, that it was not my job to do the eye washes, it was theirs, and that the database said that the eye washes were behind by 3 years.
What's your evidence that these men requested leave and got permission?
I don't approve their leave. All I know is I was the only one in the office that was suspended from vacation that I knew of. And that A&M refused to answer the complaint and fired me within 47 days.
Do you have any evidence that the male inspectors who were behind on the eye wash inspections requested leave and it was denied?
No, but I guess I could request it.
Do you have any evidence that the male inspectors who were behind on inspections requested leave and it was granted?
I have no idea. I'm not their supervisor.
Do you have any evidence that Swati Kale's decision to request your termination was based on your religious beliefs?
Based on how I was treated over the years, yes.
Over the years, I believe it was your testimony that Swati Kale did not become your supervisor until May of 2015.
They made her my supervisor as a scapegoat.
Miss O, I need you to focus, okay? I need you to focus on your termination, because that's what the court has said. That's the claim that remains, is your termination. I understand you were there for years. Court threw all that out. We're dealing with your termination, focusing on your termination. Do you have any evidence that Swati Kale requested your termination because of your religious beliefs?
It's in the 260-page witness statement.
I'm asking you right now, what do you believe? I'm asking you now. Tell the jury what you believe right now. Do you believe her decision to terminate you or to request your termination was based on your religious beliefs?
I believe Swati Kale was used as a scapegoat. I don't believe that she would have terminated me other than the rest of them had conspired to do all of it. The whole thing was, they fired me in just within 300 days of the restructure. The whole thing was written out before they did it.
What evidence do you have that the decision to terminate you was based on your religious beliefs?
Based on how I was treated and how I was isolated and how I was retaliated against and screamed at and threatened, removed from fire safety after 16 years, the way they moved my desk, the way they hassled me.
How is that connected to your religious beliefs?
Because it's very much a part of my daily life.
You walk around telling people,
No,
I'm religious,
but I'm very me, you know, and I was ostracized and left out and shunned and treated differently than everybody else.
By Swati Kale?
Swati Kale ignored me and never even mentioned. She stayed away from me other than email and whatever, and didn't do anything except try to confuse me.
Did Swati Kale ever make any derogatory remarks to you about your religion?
I don't remember.
How about Christina Robertson? Did she ever make any derogatory remarks to you about your religion?
I don't remember.
Did Brad or Banzik ever make any derogatory remarks to you about your religion?
I think I saw you twice in 2015, maybe
Objection
3
not
times.
responsive. Did he make any derogatory
I don't
remarks to
remember.
you about your religion? How about John Fields? Did he make any derogatory remarks to you about your religion?
I don't remember. During these months, these people ignored me and stayed away from me. I was shunned at work.
Did Brad or Banzik make any derogatory remarks to you because you're female?
I don't remember.
How about John Fields? Do you
I
recall?
don't remember.
At the bottom of the letter, you're asked to turn in your keys. Did you turn those in at that time?
Yes.
You're also asked to hand over any university property in your possession. Did you hand it over at that time?
I don't understand the question.
At the let's take a look at the bottom of the letter, the very last sentence.
Mm-hmm.
It says, upon receipt of this letter, you are required to turn in all keys assigned to you, any university property in your possession.
Okay.
Did you turn over any property you had in your possession?
I didn't have any property. I gave him my iPad. I gave him whatever there was stuff. Yeah.
All right, so your answer to the question is yes, you turned it
Sure.
over?
Yes.
Okay, and how about your A&M staff identification card? Did you turn it over at that time?
I don't think I had it on me. I don't know.
Do you recall when you turned it in?
I don't know.
Did you turn it in?
I don't know if I did or not. I really don't know. I worked there a long time. It's like, I don't know if I have it or not.
Well, when you get home, if you could please check to see if you have it, I'd appreciate it if you turned
Okay.
it in.
Okay.
In that letter, it also tells you, gives you the opportunity to file an appeal. Do you see that? It's about the second full paragraph in that letter.
Right.
And did you file an appeal?
Yes. I'd like to state that I filed an appeal based on all it said was work performance. I didn't actually get to see the documents, the reason why they based the termination on, until October of 2016 after I contacted the senator, and the senator contacted the EEOC, and then the lawyer that I hired got me the documents even though I had been asking him for them for months.
So the letter in the first full, or the second full paragraph says, this decision is based on your unacceptable job performance. At the time that you received this letter, Did you ask for an explanation of what it was meant by unacceptable job performance?
I did not speak to them. I was not comfortable or felt safe. I was outnumbered.
So the answer is no, you did not ask, correct? Mm-mm. All right. When was the next time you saw Swati Kale after you received this letter?
I didn't.
Okay. How about Christina Robertson?
I didn't.
Right. But it's your testimony you did appeal your termination, correct? Mm-hmm. The court reporter is going to hand you what will be marked as Exhibit 3. Do you recognize this document?
There's more to it than this. There was a slideshow.
It says page 1 of 1 and 2 of 2.
Right, but there was a slideshow that went with it.
Slideshow that went with the appeal. All right, well, let's talk
Yeah,
about this
there was a
document.
slideshow that walked through the whole thing.
All right, well, let's talk about this document. Do you recognize the document? Mm-hmm. All right, can you tell the jury what's the name of this document? What is this document?
It's in a complaint and appeal form.
And was this a complaint and appeal form that you completed as a result of your termination?
Correct. Which the UIN ought to be covered up, but it's not.
Was this document enclosed with your termination letter?
No.
Because your termination letter references copies being enclosed. It wasn't this.
Copies enclosed. Where? What?
It might be just the policy. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure.
Because this isn't until February of 16.
Right. I'm just asking if this was enclosed with your letter, with your termination letter.
No.
No. All right.
No. You know how I got this? I saved a copy of the original one I picked up in May of 2015 because it's not available online.
When you completed this, who'd you turn it into?
I emailed it to HR, I'm guessing. I'd have to look to see who I sent it to.
Before you completed the form, did you talk to anybody about filing an appeal?
I don't remember.
At the time that you completed this complaint appeal form, did you think you were fired because you were female?
Of course. That's not the only reason, but that's certainly been an ongoing theme for A&M.
When you completed the form, if you would look at the number 1 right in the middle, and it asks, what is the subject of your complaint? Can you read to the jury what you wrote down?
Retaliation termination?
Right. So at the time that you completed the form, did you also believe you were fired because you're female?
It's all part of it.
Was there another form that you completed that talks about gender discrimination?
I'm not an attorney, and I was not aware of all the different legality terms and how you're supposed to write it and I just know how I was treated while I worked there.
Objection non-responsive. Ma'am,
I am being responsive.
is there another form?
No, there's not another form
All right.
that I'm
so
aware of.
when you filed your appeal for your termination, you filed an appeal of your termination. Is this the only form you completed indicating you wanted to appeal your termination?
Other than the document you don't have.
The slideshow that's attached to it?
Yeah, it had.
In the slideshow that was attached to it, did you list gender discrimination as the
remember.
reason for termination?
It's in there.
Did you list
I
gender
don't know. I
discrimination
don't know.
as the reason for your termination, ma'am?
I don't know.
But we can't agree. You didn't list it on this form, correct?
To me, retaliation termination includes all of it.
But you wrote retaliation, correct?
Yes, and
You did not-
I was retaliated against for being female the entire time I worked at A&M.
Anywhere on this form, can you show me anywhere on this form where you indicate you believed you were terminated because you're female?
It goes without saying
Can
based
you
on how
show
I've
me
done it.
on the form, ma'am?
If I had been an attorney and known how to write a legal document and included it all, I certainly would have.
So you agree with me it does not appear on this form?
Let's see what it says.
All right, can you agree with me also on the form that nowhere does it appear that you're appealing your termination because you believe you were discriminated against because of your religion?
I think it's in one of the other 15 written complaints that I submitted in 15 and 16.
I'm limiting my question to exhibit number 3, which you have testified is the form you completed to appeal your termination.
I also appealed how many times they were treating me the way they were treating me. To me, it's all
Ms.
connected.
O, we're focusing on your termination, ma'am. That's what this form is for, correct? You are appealing your termination when you filled out this form, right? And it was your intention to let A&M University know you were appealing because you believed you were fired in retaliation for something, correct? On this form, you did not indicate that you believed you were being fired because of discrimination against females,
To me, it was
correct?
so obvious it didn't need to be put down.
And it's also correct that nowhere on this form do you indicate you're appealing your termination because you believed you were discriminated against because of
I had
your
already
religion.
explained that to them.
I'm talking about exhibit
On
number
this one?
3.
No, it's not
No,
on this one.
it's not
But it's
there.
on all the other ones, and
It's
it's
not
in
on
it's in PowerPoint that's
It's not on
here.
exhibit 3.
Excuse me, when you
Sorry.
both speak at the same time, I
Sorry.
can't make an accurate record.
If you turn to the back of exhibit 3, no, we won't deal with that right now. I'm sorry. Let's go on to exhibit number 4. Do you recognize this exhibit? Can you identify this exhibit, please?
It's dated the same as the other one, so I'm guessing it goes with it. It's the witness form that goes with the plaintiff conceal form.
And was this did you complete this form?
This is the form that goes with this form.
So the identification of witnesses form you believe goes with the complaint and appeal form?
It's dated the same, so yes.
Is it your contention that there were other fire inspectors in your department who did not express religious beliefs but were treated better than you?
Yes?
And who are they?
Adam Shavera,
And how do you know Adam Shavera
from work.
is not religious? Shavera? And he was also a fire inspector?
He went from student worker to Tech 2 to construction fair safety supervisor a year later.
Do you know if he was supervised by Swati Kale from 2015
No, he
to
wasn't
2000?
supervised by Swati Kale. He was mentored and supervised by James Rayner.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the question again, and this time let me finish so the court reporter can get it down completely. From May 2015 to January 2016, was Adam Shavera supervised by Swati Kale?
No.
Are there any other males that you believed were treated better than you because they have a different religion?
Basically, everybody in the department was treated better than me.
Do you believe it was because of your religion?
I believe that's part of it. It would be more accurate to say my ideas of God, life and death.
Was Swati Kale aware of your ideas of God? Had you expressed them to her before?
I don't remember.
Had you ever asked Ms. Kale to make any sort of accommodation for your religious beliefs?
No.
What about Christina Robertson? Had you ever asked her
I
to
don't
make an
remember.
accommodation?
I don't remember.
Had you ever asked Christina Robertson to make an accommodation for your religious beliefs?
I don't remember.
You can try to switch out the DVD.
Okay, we can take a break for you to do that, certainly.
Off record at 12:50.